Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Farrell. I am the expat entrepreneur, and welcome to the Legit eBiz show. If you are an entrepreneur and you are looking for ways to make money online or to add income channels to your existing business, then you're going to want to hear this show because I'm going to come to you weekly, every single Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific with the latest tools and tactics to help you grow your online business. So, on that note, I'd like to start by just letting you know that today I'll talk to you about the five main e-commerce platforms, the five main ways that you can make money online today, because there are so many, and most of us don't actually realize that there's multiple ways that you can go about it. For example, a lot of the training that you see available today and you see ads for that might say things like start an online business, sell products on Amazon, open up your own Shopify store. We kind of tend to lump them all together into one category, and that's not really accurate. And it's also not a level playing field either, because there are so many different ways that you can earn legitimate income online with all kinds of different varying degrees of opportunity. Some of them will cap out, and other ones have unlimited opportunity. And you're also dealing with some business models that have a lot of risk and a really high amount of capital that's required in order to start and operate those businesses. Whereas other ones you can slide in and get going for a much smaller amount of money and time as well. So it's very important that you actually know everything there is to know about what type of business you're getting into and what it takes to really succeed at it before you jump in feet first, and commit yourself to something that you might not actually be wanting to do once you realize what's exactly is required. So on that note, I'm going to start and let you know about the first business model. Sorry for the noise there. And let's go ahead and start with podcasting and blogging. This here might podcast. In fact, a lot of people do a podcast on Amazon. We're doing or on on Facebook using the live system like we're doing, and basically with a podcast, in my opinion, I would lean more toward doing a podcast than a blog. You could do both. You could do one or the other. And there's a lot of people who are using one piece of content and spinning it out over multiple platforms. So by that I mean, let's say with this blog or this podcast that I'm doing right now, if I wanted to, when it's finished, put it through a converting piece of software or an app or something and let it turn the video, excuse me, and audio into text, I could then take that text and perhaps use it as articles or use it in a blog, make a blog post with it, or take snippets out of there and post them onto my social media platforms, that kind of thing. So that I'm basically repurposing content, because social media posting on all these platforms can be super time consuming. So starting out from the position of having a podcast, especially if it's live, right? This would really cover all. As you could have the video, you could post it on YouTube, you could keep it here as well and have it in your podcast, convert it to text and do the blog, like I say, and even use some of that text or video in advertising as well, when you get some good stuff in there. So podcasting, I'm definitely a fan of it. And there's several ways that you can actually earn money and monetize from a podcast. And I will say this is the same for a blog as well. You can, once you popular and you get a whole bunch of visits every day onto your page, like I'm talking, tens to hundreds of thousands of people, that's when advertising can really pay off, because it's all the advertising for Google ads and whatnot are based on volume and traffic. And in order for them to want to advertise on your site, they're going to want to make sure that there's a lot of eyeballs on your offer, on what you're doing. So that's not really something that any of us can count on in those early stages when we're still amping up. But it is something you can consider down the road. You could get sponsorships from people who just want to, put their logo on there in exchange for a small fee, so that they're getting some visual recognition. You can also do things like marketing, which is something I'll talk more about in a second, because that's one of the other 5 big business models. But that's basically where you get a referral fee for encouraging somebody to take an offer or a product. And it's a digital referral. It's a digital version of getting a referral in the real world in brick and mortar, when you might get a card from your hair salon. If you recommended your girlfriend to go to the same place you go and she did, maybe you're going to get a free bottle of shampoo next time, or 10% off your next cut, or something like that. Affiliate marketing is the same thing, except online, and it happens all the time. And it's something that is, anyway, let me talk more about that next. But other ways that you can monetize blogs or podcasts are you could devote one of your topics that day to a particular product. And you could have a link to that product, and either it might be something that you've actually created and you're selling yourself, or it could be something that you have an affiliate link for and you're going to get a commission based on sending people there as well. Those are a few ways. You can also have somebody on, a guest speaker, who is maybe in a similar space to you. If you're somebody who's working in health and fitness, for example, and you've got a course that you want to sell, you might want to get somebody else who's in the health and fitness space to come on, who's got a big list of their own, and the two of you can share in a way and make an arrangement to put the new fresh content of yours in front of their people. And this is a win-win. It works really well because you're getting access to a brand new fresh audience. The joint venture partner you're working with here, they are putting fresh content in front of their audience that they did not have to create, and they don't have to service either. And this is actually a huge benefit, because believe me, when you've got your list of people, you need to keep them warm and interested. And in order to do that, you've got to keep pumping out new content constantly. So this is a really, really effective strategy, and it happens all the time as well. And this is not a case where you are selling your list or giving your email addresses away to somebody else, and letting your people get bombarded by advertising and messaging that they have zero interest in. This is a valuable service because you're only going to do it with people who have something that you know is going to be of interest to your audience. So they will be happy to hear from you, a person they trust, and have a recommendation, a personal recommendation. So that's a super popular way as far as monetizing blogs and podcasts go. But stepping into the next big e-commerce type of online business, looking at affiliate marketing as an individual way of doing business and making a living. It's a very, very popular model because you don't need anything other than a computer and the internet. It's easy to do, especially if you have a list of people that you can put offers in front of. And by that, I mean basically, no matter what business we're in or what we're selling, right, we always have to have a way to put it in front of people and to get eyeballs on the thing that we have for sale, that we're offering. And in order to do that, you have to drive traffic in most cases, right? If you've got a product on Amazon, you have to rank on Amazon. And in order to rank, you need sales volume. And that either happens from you driving traffic from outside to your listing, or it happens from you putting advertising, placing ads on your product so that you push more sales that are people who are already on Amazon to your listing to purchase. So either one of those two ways will get you the same result. They're both going to cost you. Basically, as long as you have a list of people, you can put any number of type of offers in front of them. So with an affiliate marketing type of business, a lot of people do it where they're just promoting other people's stuff, whether it's products or services, and they don't actually ever create anything of their own. So you're basically like a middleman. You're like a promoter. You're helping a group of people, perhaps entrepreneurs like yourself, match them up with service providers who have things that you know that they're going to need. And oftentimes with affiliate marketers, they are on the cutting edge of the latest and greatest tools and technologies and trainings that are actually available. And that's because all the service providers and people who are doing the trainings not only try to sell their things themselves, but they also will go to affiliates to have them sell their stuff on their behalf. So you're getting somebody else to promote on your behalf for you. And that's, as an affiliate marketer, that's what you would be doing in essence. So that's one way of being an affiliate marketer. Another way is just by simply signing yourself up as an affiliate marketer with a variety of different services. Like an example would be domain name registration. And if you get an affiliate link for that and give it to somebody who's going to go and register a domain name, you're going to make a couple of bucks off of that every time somebody does it. And the reason that companies do this, and service providers do it, and course creators and content creators, is because it's just another form of advertising dollars, really. Comparing the two, comparing the money that you spend with affiliate marketing, giving them the commissions that because they've sent you sales, with running ads on Google or on Facebook or in the newspaper or wherever else you would put your advertising dollars. Usually the ones that are coming from the affiliates are much, much stronger, and they have a better turn rate. They're a lower cost per click. And that's oftentimes it's because it's coming from a warm recommendation. Somebody who's got a list of people that they're keeping warm and nurtured with interesting, valuable content that they're interested in constantly, and then having a few offers in there now and then. This is the model. And so when you do put an offer in front of them, and they do take a look at it, if it's in their wheelhouse, they're going to be far more likely to buy it, at least quickly, than if they just saw an ad for it randomly while they were scrolling through on Facebook. So that's why affiliate marketing can be so effective, and it's can certainly be lucrative too. There are people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month being affiliate marketers. So there's a lot of money up for grabs in that particular one. Next one, let's go ahead and talk about e-commerce. So e-commerce is kind of a catch-all phrase. We've kind of made it into. It's sort of like tissue is called Kleenex, right? We tend to think of e-commerce as anything that is bought or sold on the internet, online. And that strictly is a strict definition of it for sure. But with e-commerce specifically, what it means is you would be a person who would be creating and selling a product or a service. And that could be, for example, it could be you selling a product on Amazon or your own e-commerce website, which is just a plain old website that has an ability to take payment, has a payment gateway. It could also be you having a Shopify store or a storefront on eBay or Walmart.com or any number of those other smaller platforms that are out there. E-commerce is you selling either that product or service. And so the basic definition is, exchanging money for the service or a product. It just happens to happen digitally. And so the thing with e-commerce is, this is where I think a lot of people get into a bit of a pickle, because the e-commerce businesses that are available for all of us to jump into, most of them have a really high opportunity potential, a really high earning potential, which is amazing, right? That any one of us has the chance of making huge money or building a business, actually building a brand and selling it for huge dollars at the end of the day. But the thing is they also come with a fair amount of risk, depending on which way you want to go. So I'll just quickly break it down for you, just lightly, so that you've got an idea of the subtle differences between them. Basically, what you can do for no matter which platform you're using, if you want to sell your own product that you make, this would be called private label. And that's where you take a product, let's say like this microphone, and you didn't want it to say Yeti anymore, you want it to say your name. And so what you do is you go to the manufacturers in China and you get the range and you say, I want to put my name on this microphone and bring it in. And this is a very, very popular model. It's also a very expensive model. And well, we hear stories every day of people making amazing money doing it. The vast majority of people are just breaking even if they're lucky, to be honest with you. There's many, many risk factors, and it's super time consuming, and it's also a very, very cash rich business. It's constantly churning and requiring more and more cash. So you got to get ahead of it with your inventory and get the money out of that so that you can make your next order, basically. But as great as private label is, in my opinion, I think there's a couple of other that are even better. And one of them is wholesaling. And that is something that you would most likely do on Amazon. You could certainly do it on your own site as well, or a Shopify store. But what it means is that you would find an existing product that you see and matches all your checklist of all the criteria that it needs for something to do well, in your opinion, for a good product to that you would want to take on and represent. And you would then go to the manufacturer or brand and you would negotiate terms so that you would become a reseller of that product. They would sell it to you at wholesale. And so what you do then is almost instantly you'll get, within a week or two, you would actually get you would purchase inventory from them, whatever amount you decided to do, and you would then go forward and sell it. And what's great about this model is that so much of the risk is taken out of it. Like almost all of the risk is taken out of this model, because you don't have to put all that money down to buy your minimum order quantity on a private label product, because they're not going to take this name off and put your name on unless you're going to buy several thousand pieces. And that's just the way it goes. So being able to buy a couple of hundred pieces from an existing manufacturer, especially on a product that you know is already doing well right now. And that's the key, because as much as you think your brand new product is going to do great, or you see this huge opportunity for microphones and you think you're going to do wonderful, by the time you get everything together and it gets shipped over and you get it into inventory and then you get it ranked and you start selling, the whole market condition could have changed. And oftentimes it does in that period of time. So that's another area where there's a lot of risk in it that we have no control over. We have no control over that. So looking at it from the wholesale side, what's great about it is you identify a product doing well right now and you negotiate terms immediately. You can be up and running in a matter of weeks and making money, like earning money straight away. So it's really, really good. And another model is drop shipping that you may have heard about. And this is where you never have to actually have the inventory in your possession whatsoever. So it takes it even one step further and removing even more risk. What you would do is identify a product. Now here's your risk though, is because you never know which product is going to go or not go. But with drop shipping, it's not that much risk because you don't have any money on the line really, other than what you're going to spend to promote or advertise. So you would identify a product that you want to sell, and you would go to you would source a manufacturer who's willing to work with you with orders 1 and 2 at a time, which not all manufacturers do, but there are plenty out there who will. So don't let that stop you. In China and in locally in the States or any other number of countries as well. So you identify the product, you go and find yourself, source a manufacturer, and then you start advertising and you start making sales. And as soon as the sale is made, that's when the order would automatically go into your manufacturer. They would create it and ship it out to your customer who bought. So the thing is never created until the order is actually made, and that's why it's such a long lead time. It's usually like 6 or 8 weeks in order for these dropship products to get into the hands of your customer. Go on, honey. Got a little cat here. She's not going to give up easy today, so you're probably going to see her in a second. But basically, that is a great model too, and it just takes a little bit more turns to find the products that are going to hit, right? But it's a far better option as far as lower risk and lower capital. So those are a couple there. Let's go on to the next model, and that I'm going to go with freelancing. And freelancing is a real fun one because it can really encompass so many things. And it's not like, decades ago where freelancing was like, somebody doing bookkeeping and in their spare time and that kind of thing. It's really a legitimate, viable business that you could do just with the skills that you already have. Or you could go out and get yourself some new skills that are in high demand, for example. And there's a lot of them. You can stack them on top of each other and become even more integral part of the business of the person that you're going to work with and be a client of. or have a client for. So as an example, let me just use social media as an example. There are so many things in social media marketing that need to be done that business people don't have time to do. And this is the thing. This is the why freelancing is such a huge opportunity right now. Because I guess I should have told you earlier on. I apologize, but I am a 6-year private label Amazon FBA seller, and I am very familiar with what it takes to sell products on Amazon. And I know that for Amazon sellers and a whole bunch of other business people, online business people like affiliate marketers, for example, or content creators, there's a lot of stuff that you got to get done in a day or a week or a month. And it's oftentimes so much stuff that you simply don't have time to do everything that you know you should be doing. And with social media as a prime example, especially if you're not somebody who enjoys being on social media, which is the way that I am, that gets always pushed down to the bottom of the list, and oftentimes it doesn't get done. And it needs to be done because these days, it's been proven and said time and again by so many experts that to build your brand today, I mean, if you don't have a strong social media presence, it's going to take way longer, and it might not even work, because that's just how the world has gone these days. So it's mandatory. So, if you're not going to have the time or the inclination to do it yourself, you're going to need to want to sub that out. And it's one of those have to do things, like have to do bookkeeping and have to do taxes, for example. So that's one example. If you were somebody who enjoyed being on social media and you wanted to post for somebody, there's actually really good money in that. The only thing is they're super time consuming, right? To find the right content for particular categories and then to post it. And that's the drawback, is it's not a scalable business because it's entirely based on your time, which is limited. And so that's kind of a double-edged sword. But one way that you can become more efficient and have a wider reach and sort of scale yourself in a way would be by having other skills that you could offer in that same area, in the area of social media, or that that your people are going to need. And here's an example, something like learning how to create chatbot sequences. This is something that even today is still such a huge opportunity because hardly anybody has done it. Because it takes a bit to learn and to actually get those bot sequences up and running and going and ticking along. And it's an automated conversation via text, via messenger that happens. And if they answer this, it goes to here. And if they answer that, it goes to there. And it just eventually, obviously, it stops. But it is tremendously effective. And if you wanted to learn how to create those bots and offer a bot to any number of people, I mean, believe me when I say a lot of people will buy that. You could do the same thing with explainer videos as an example, because it's such a cool way and they're still hardly ever used. And almost everybody will stop and watch the explainer video as soon as you see it, because you want to see what finishes, how this thing goes. So I mean, that's another example. And there's lots of other ones too that I could use. Like if you wanted to create infographics, or what's called as a lead magnet, or create pins for people to put on Pinterest. There's so many things you could do depending on your aptitude and your how creative you are, what you like doing. But if you could envision yourself having a handful of clients, like just a few, just 3 or 5 clients, and doing a number of those things for them, you could make well over 10 grand a month doing that, like easily. But there's of course lots of other freelancing you could do too that has nothing to do with social media as well. It could be things that you're already skilled in and have the ability to do, or like I say, you could even go on and get the training in order to provide the service. And that is something that could really pay off, because in these communities as well, whether it's Amazon FBA or it's affiliate marketing people or whoever, these online entrepreneurs are, we have tons of Facebook groups that we're always in, and there's lots of ways to reach them, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that you wouldn't even have to necessarily pay for advertising, Facebook advertising, if you didn't want to. There's lots of other things you can do. And once you got in with a few, people, and you were doing a good job for them, people would be recommending you to their their selling friends, right? So it's a cool idea, believe me, especially when you can pick and choose whichever things you like doing, whatever is of interest to you, and yeah, offer it up. So there we go. What else do we have here? Just down to one more. We've done freelance, we've done e-commerce, we've done affiliate marketing and blogging and podcasting. And the last one is probably my favorite, which is digital content creation. And by the way, these 5 areas of e-commerce, of online business, are the basic areas. Like you can see with freelancing, for example, how I just touched on a few ideas when there's dozens, literally. And the same with some of these other models too. It's just a very skimmed the surface look at as an idea of what, overriding big categories are out there that you could consider getting into. And with digital content creation, this is probably my favorite. It's also where some of my aptitudes really lie in terms of liking to do a lot of research and being creative and putting things together, because that's kind of what you're doing. You're literally creating content, creating anything digital that you would see online or be emailed or get a link to. So it could be things like a PDF, it could be a one-page infographic, one of those things I mentioned before. It could be a tips sheet or blueprint. It could be an ebook, a course, a mini course, a master class. It could be webinar series, anything like that that's digitally created and distributed would be digital content creation. And what's wonderful about this is that, there's no right or wrong. There's no too short or too long. Like it's entirely up to you what you would want to create and how you would want to present it and monetize it. And a lot of the digital content that we create is actually intended to be given for free, so that we have things of value that we can give to our audience, and keep them interested in our message, so that when we do have the time, when there is something of value that we can promote and sell to them, they're receptive and open and warm to the idea. And that's kind of the point behind it, and the model of that business. So with digital content creation, it also kind of flows over into all the other models too, because really, no matter what you're doing, you have to create at least a little bit of content, right? Whether it's a video or a graphic or whatever the case may be, even writing copy. Like on Amazon, for example, you have to create that listing and write the copy there and the bullets, or maybe create inserts or the packaging for your product. No matter which one you're going into, there are a number of things that you will have to do. And it really is not that much bigger of a step to go further and create a full-on product, a digital creation product, digital product. I can say that when I was in FBA and selling my private label products, I created 3 brands during the 6 years that I was doing that, and I brought a couple of dozen products to market. And one of the most successful ones was a backpack, a really cool backpack for women. And one of the strategies that had been taught to me from way back, early days, was, create some kind of a neat little course or a little book or a little, something to give to your people for free, so that you can create this audience and then sell them your product. And it sounded great, but the only problem was there was never the time to create something, whatever that might have been. And an example might be, if you sell camping gear, maybe you would want to create a blog or a podcast on, camping in America, or, camping through the fall, or however you would want to do it. But you would maybe create this blog and just talk about, or podcast, talk about camping. And then every now and then you put a link into your product that you sell, or, whatever. And this is a super effective way, especially today, because I'll just talk a little bit now about the whole overriding thing being your audience and creating your list. And no matter which business model you choose, and even regardless whether it is online or brick and mortar, you need to be finding a way to create and keep and nurture a list of your customers, of your people. And the reason why is because as your list grows, which would basically by that I mean it's an email list, right? It's a list of people's email addresses, people who've bought from you or who have taken one of your free pieces of content that you created, or watched one of your webinars, or just interacted with you in some way, shape, or form. They are going to be on your list and far more receptive to anything that you would send them, whether it's an offer from somebody else, or a latest release that you're doing, or a course that you've just released and you're selling on a special price for VIPs, whatever the case may be. If you don't have that list, or I'm just going to backtrack, or maybe it's the new release for a product you're selling on Amazon or on Shopify, and you're going to launch it. And during a launch, the first rule of thumb is you want to drive as many sales as you possibly can fast, so that the algorithm sees this huge wave of buyers come in and recognizes how relevant you are to that search term, and that they better rank you and keep you ranked. And as long as you keep sending them, sending buyers into your listing, into your product, you will maintain that rank. Like that's kind of the procedure. And if you've got a brand new product that you're going to sell, what would be better if it's in the same genre as the people who've already bought your tent? That you come in and you say, hey, I've just got this great, campfire cook top thing, or marshmallow roaster, or whatever the case may be, because they're campers, that they already know your brand, they already trust you, and the reason why this works so well too is because generally speaking it takes about 7 touch points, they call it, before people are willing to buy from anybody new. And it's just a case of kind of getting used to you and getting to know you, sort of thing. So if you've got your list of people that have already bought from you, the effort it's going to take you to sell them a new item again is so much less than the effort it's going to take you to find a new buyer altogether. So it's vitally important that we keep it. It's also really important we do that because you want to be able to, if you do want to sell your business down the road, this is going to make it far more valuable. Whoever is buying a business these days, believe me, if you've got a list, you can just crank up your ask price big time. So that's another reason too. And the third and certainly not least reason why is because it's something that you control. When you keep a list, an email list of your people, your buyers, you control that, and it doesn't matter what would happen on the platform. If Amazon shuts your page down, or you lose, something, your account on Instagram, or, I hear stories and it's just, oh, my heart goes out to people because I know how much time and effort it takes to create these groups of people in these different areas, these different platforms. So you have complete control over your email list, and it's also free to send an email out to them, right? So it could be the best source of free advertising you will ever have, that's for sure. So on that note, I want to wrap it up because I don't want this to get too long. And I will say that you can feel free to tune in live next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Every Thursday I'm going to be going live with new, even more drilled down specific tactics for online business. And in the meantime, if there's anybody out there who is looking for what type of online business they should be getting into, or thinking about adding another channel into their existing business to increase the income, I'd like to make an invitation to you. I have a 5-day challenge that is starting in just about a week's time. And I'll put a link below to it. I have to admit, I'm just in the process of rebranding it, but I believe that it's going to be called Make More Online Sales, Make Money Online. Oh, I don't even know. I'm not going to bother looking. You'll see what it's called as soon as you click the link. But basically what it is it's a 5-day challenge that I've put together, and I've created an assessment that is called the Legit eBusiness Assessment, and this is a killer assessment. It's unbelievable. The people who've gone through this challenge in the past have just had phenomenal results, because what I do is I unpack the top 15 legitimate online business models. So I just discussed 5 with you today of the 5 main categories. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of the top 15 most lucrative businesses there are online right now. And the whole point of it is so that you can have a complete insider's look and know exactly how much money and time it's going to take to start and to operate the business, and what is the risk level and the complication factor and all those kind of things that really we should know before we get involved. But the main purpose is to save you the time and the money that you might otherwise lose by going down the wrong path, by choosing the wrong model, because you happen to see some ad where somebody was talking about how this great sell on Amazon thing, and it sounded like a good idea at the time, and the next thing you know, you find out you actually should have had, a lot more money or a lot more time in order to do this business, for example. So that's the point. And if it sounds the least bit interesting, please click the link and get more information, because it literally has the power to change your life. And I'm not kidding you. So I would love to see you in there. It starts in about a week, but click it and find out more. And in the meantime, I will look forward to seeing you again this time next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been my pleasure to address you, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.